Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to Kai Kai's dinner. And we're always happy to see some full house like this. This is fantastic. Thanks for coming tonight. But tonight I'm excited to have with me my buddy, Mr. Taylor Mohlmann from District and Table in Stewart. And Julie is somewhere floating around. She's doing the grill maybe, and with John. So these people have been, I've known them for a long time, and they've been my customers for one of the first 18 years ago. They used to be on Indian Street before, and we patronized them ever since. And I go there in the summer. I don't have time in the winter. And I do their pizza dough. That's my way of relaxing. So I go early in the morning, and I work with Taylor, and we just keep each other's company. And then I do something good for the restaurant, and I enjoy learning about it. And here we go.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. We're going to do some fan favorites this evening. Street corn being one of our most popular dishes. We're going to run through everything relatively quickly and do a slightly redacted menu. Diane comes out and helps with pizza dough and bread during the summer, like she said, and not by design and not something that we typically do. This menu is actually gluten-free, and I absolutely love bread. I don't know how or why this happened, but it did. So the first step in making our aioli is we take our yolks. These came from Nick over at Pasture 714. And then we need to introduce our acid. So we use the zest and juice of our lime. Behind that, mustard acts as our binding agent. And normally we do this in a Hobart, but since it's such a small amount, it's honestly easier and less messy to just go ahead and do it by hand. It doesn't take as much effort as you would be led to believe. Our garlic, we always microplane our garlic. Just so we can get a little bit in every bite of our aioli. So this is, again, one of our best sellers. We go through 10 cases of corn a week, just about. Each case being 50 ears, and Yuly has become a master at plating it because she works that side. So yeah, everything that we do at District is in-house. You're not going to find mayonnaise or pickles coming out of jars or anything like that. We've moved on to making all of our bread in-house, no more bakeries or anything like that. It's something that we're extremely proud of. So now that we have our garlic and all of our fun stuff in there, I do like to take a pinch of flaky salt, pop it in, and we're just going to make a slightly homogeneous mixture right here. Nice and everything's combined, and then we're just slowly going to stream in our oil, very, very slowly at first, whisking constantly, faster and faster, and you'll see how it's tightening up nicely. So we use a neutral oil, so we typically use canola oil. It just makes more sense to us because olive oil can throw off some pretty gnarly flavors from time to time or overpower it, because what we're really looking to do is highlight the corn, the acid, the pickled Fresnos, and all of that fun stuff, you know, like, so that's the reason. Any neutral oil will work. Avocado oil's fine, grapeseed oil's fine, but we also aren't looking for something with a super high temperature because we're not cooking the aioli. And then that's it. We add a little bit of water if it's too tight, or a little bit of oil if it's too loose. Continue to stream. I think the world record currently for aioli is 1 yolk for 1 gallon, which is pretty impressive. I've tried. I can't get that far. And then now we're just about there. I'm going to take this so it gets a little too tight so that I can show you how and when to add the water. So this emulsification is super, super easy. And it's the same method that we use for the tome, which you guys will be eating in your next course. So see how we're like super tight? I want it to be a little looser. So all I have to do is add a little water. It's going to pale in color. And then you have the appropriate consistency. So that's how we make our aioli. Everybody always asks for extra pickled Fresnos. So this is exactly how we do it. So first thing you want to do, and Miss Diane did grow these Fresnos for us, is we just take them and then we just bring them down a little bit. Should have brought a serrated knife, but I didn't. So yeah, we just take them down. And then the rule of thumb is generally 70-30 for your acid to water. So we use simply distilled vinegar. And then all we're going to do to make our street corn is take our water into the pan. We're going to take our vinegar again into the pan. And the idea right now is to completely dissolve our sugar and salt. So I like spicy, but not everybody else does. So we add a little extra sugar to our pickling liquid, more than we would normally use for any other pickling liquid, because you've heard of the Scoville unit, right? Like that's how spicy something is. So that's in reference to how much sugar it takes to actually dilute the capsaicin. And milk's not the greatest option. It's nice, but a spoonful of sugar will actually help you out way, way more than a glass of milk. Anything sugary. The milk is there, like people use milk, that's more to coat your stomach lining, right? Like, but if you want to get like that burn to go away on your tongue, just spoonful of sugar. And that's it. So I'm just going to swirl this around a little bit. And honestly, like that's it. We'll let these sit in the fridge for a day. And then you have pickled Fresnos, everyone's favorite. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. When we go to do our corn, there's one trick to shucking corn. So see how the silk comes up like that? You want to divide your silk and then grab it and then just rip it down. And then on the other side, you want to do the exact same thing, making sure you're using your thumb to really wrap around the silk, and you'll get the bulk of it off. And then you have a nice clean ear of corn to roast. And I mean, seriously, all we're doing is we use our pizza oven for everything at work. We lay it out on sheet trays and then we roast it in the oven. So now we're going to go ahead and assemble that for you. And we'll be right back.
Late on this night, timeless beauty dressed in white. Underneath the stars at Kai's music garden.
The tome, which is going to be the yogurt-based sauce that goes down on the bottom of the plate, is almost identical to making aioli, so we figured it would be a little redundant, right? So the mustard seed matcha is one of my favorite condiments, that in the tome right now. This dish is my favorite dish on the menu currently. So the salad component is all Diane. All her herbs, shungiku, tomatoes, watermelon, radish, all of the fun things. So salsa matcha is is really cool. We do it quite often in one form or another. So the idea is you take some oil into your frying pan, and you're going to take all of your dried spices, and you're going to bring them to the point where they're burning, like right before they burn. So mustard seed, fennel seed, coriander, all go in there separately because we don't want to burn our shallot and we don't want to burn our garlic because that throws off acrid flavors and nobody likes the flavor of burnt garlic, or maybe you do, I don't. Again, with the microplane, we really like turmeric. So we grate our turmeric in here. And then essentially we're looking for 400 degrees. The easiest way to tell that if you're there, if you don't have a thermometer, the last thing that's going to burn is your coriander. So as soon as your coriander starts to brown, you know you're ready to go. So we have our soft items in here. There is a liquid component, your rose water, your lemon juice, and we don't want to add that right now because we don't want to create too much of an explosion. So one thing that will happen is your mustard seeds will pop, so be careful in regards to that. So, I mean, the idea is really just to wake everything up, like more than you normally would. Like it brings out more flavors than dry toasting. It's not a common practice around here, but I mean, if you go to Latin America or India, like this is how you do things. Like this is how you make vinaigrettes. This is how you wake things up. And it's the same idea for chili crisp. Chili crisp is actually a matcha, right? Like, and chili crisp is taking the world by storm. The only difference is your aromatics. You have a lot of the same seasoning. Chili crisp will have a lot of Szechuan peppercorn in there, as well as gochugaru, which is just Korean chili flake. So we're starting to bubble just a little bit. The induction burn is a little slower than I'd like, but that's fine. A great addition is also sesame seed to anything like this because deep roasted sesame seeds are amazing. But sometimes I worry about allergies, so we'll omit them from time to time and things like this. So now you can start to hear the mustard seeds popping, and we're just gonna wait just a moment or two. 3:30, so we are very close. So again, you want to be super careful with this. All right, so we are there. So you're gonna take your ripping hot oil, and I always love the way this smells, and dump everything into your bowl. And we're just going to give it a little swirl. We're gonna wait for this to cool down just a little bit, but you see how like beautiful that oil is. And I don't know if you can smell it, but like your garlic's frying, your shallot's frying. It's way less messy than sauteing everything separately, which is always nice. So now that we're cooling down, shallots and garlic are lightly cooked. We're going to add our liquid. It's going to cool it down even more. And then the only thing you want to do behind this is just pulse it quickly in the Vitamix and as chunky as you like. I like it to be relatively chunky, kind of granulated, and that's how we dress our salad. So give us just a moment, and we'll plate that up and get it out to you. So Bell & Evans does an organic chicken thigh that we get. We use it for our fried chicken. This is the exact same chicken that we use. So it's nice. So we're not bringing in extra product, right? Like, and we're utilizing it in different ways. But what's really tenderizing that is the yogurt, right? Like, so it's sitting in yogurt for 24 hours along with your rose water, your lemon, your ginger, your garlic, and tons of lemon juice. And the gochugaru that we talked about earlier is the chili that we're using in that particular marinade for the chicken. Again, one of my favorite dishes on the menu right now. This one is not on the menu, and I'm very excited for you guys to try this. So this is a type of tamale. It's called a chitos. Gone down so many different rabbit holes with tamales over the years. We learned that we don't like maseca, which is the very common, tortilla tamale, instant in a bag. And then we found this company called Macienda, and then we were just like, well, if they can do it, we can do it. And we did. So we were actually buying the heirloom corn from either Anson Mills, their hominy, or the heirloom corn from Macienda. This is the bag. I think they're at Whole Foods now. You can get it on Amazon or directly from their website. Amazing product. But we were going through the whole nixtamalization process, which, take your corn that's dried, take your water, cover it, and then 1% call or culinary lye, and then cook it, right? And then it dissolves the outside of the kernel, making it digestible, right? And then we broke a meat grinder, a Vitamix, a food mill, and almost a RoboCoupe. We kept overheating the RoboCoupe. Processing that corn to then cook one more time to make tamales and tortillas, and some of you will remember them. Some of them had very funny shapes because we were mixing two different types of corn together, to kind of striate it or make wieners, whatever's clever, because we do have a sense of humor in the kitchen. So the tamales that are on the are actually on the plancha right now. So we steamed them first, and then behind that we put them onto the plancha to impart a little bit of smoky flavor from charring that husk a little bit, and really just it'll slightly crisp up the masa. I don't like it when I'm biting into a tamale and it's dry and not crumbly, but just not moist, and the only thing I want to eat is the inside, right? These tamales, again, it has a lot to do with this flour, and it has a lot to do with the ratio that we use in regards to making our masa. The other cool thing about this is in the tamale, you're going to find one of my favorite things, which is spigariello. So when you cut into it and you open it up, you'll see little pieces of green, and that is grown by Miss Diane here. It's a brassica, or it's in the broccoli family, and you just use the leaves, right? And then when it does its little death throw, it puts up one little floret, and that's it. So you're not going around and harvesting it. It's actually grown for the leaves, and broccoli leaves are some of my favorite things. It doesn't matter if it's on the Happy Rich or on the spig. So just a quick little demo on the masa. So we have fat that we saved from our braise. A lot of people will tell you to cream your fat, right? And we found that no, you don't. So we add salt, and we secretly add a small amount of MSG because, again, I really like it, and I think more about myself than anybody else, right? What do I want? That's what I want to give you guys, is what I want, right? And I feel like that's fair. So we have our fat, we have our salt, we have a little bit of oil, and we can eyeball this. It's pretty forgiving, actually, which is super nice. So then we're just going to slowly add our water, and then just kind of mix it and we can add more water or masa harina as we need it. And because corn doesn't have any gluten, I don't have to sit here and worry about kneading the crap out of it, right? Which is nice, although we are pretty good at kneading things now. But one thing that we have to do, and it's the same in bread work, is we have to let this go through the autolyse process. And that means, that's just a fancy way of saying it needs to hydrate, right? Like, because I'm taking something wet, I'm adding it to something dry. It's not an instantaneous process. So yeah, we will work it a little bit. And one thing to look for is when you take it, and this is premature, mind you, when you squish it, around the edges, you don't want to see cracks. You want it to be nice and smooth. So that tells me that, yes, I am going to add a small amount of water, and I'm going to, mix it up. And then at this point, we're looking pretty smooth, or we typically call it suave. Like suave and duro. Like, should it be more suave, más duro? So now I can easily make a little ball, and I can crush it, and see how I'm cracking? I don't want that, but I know that I'm where I want to be just because I've done this a few times. And Yuly has also taught me very, very well. So we have a little prepared masa that's already gone through through it. So you see how I'm not cracking when I'm smushing it now? That's exactly what I'm looking for. So I'll take my hands, always wet hands when you're working with doughs. This is a little big. So roll it up, and then you kind of want to do the patty cake thing. Kind of smack it around. A lot of people and it's a regional thing. Like, we'll just take their masa and smear it right on the corn husk, pop your filling into it, and then just close the corn husk. But because we're saucy, and we really want like a very, very moist tamale, because we add all of our braising liquid back into our braise after it's shredded. Because again, nobody likes a dry tamale, or if you do, I don't like you. So, and then we take this is our braise. So you'll see wonderful carrots from Miss Diane, and this is what I'm talking about, the spigariello that's down here. And we'll just pop it in, we'll fold it over, and again, forgiving. And then we just take it, we pinch it, get it all nice and sealed up. Right? And then we're going to just go straight into our husk, like that. And then all you have to do is fold over. You can leave this open, or you can take a small strip of corn husk and tie it shut. You guys got the fancy one with the corn husk tied shut, because we like it. So that's just like a quick and easy on the tamale. The braise is super straightforward. I mean, all we're doing is we're searing our meat, right? And then we're removing it. We're sautéing in our veg, and then we hit our tomato product in, then we deglaze, then we return our beef, then we add our stock and our aromatics that are toasted. Pretty straightforward. And then it's just pico de gallo and some charred shishitos. And we're going to go ahead and get that set up for you guys. I hope you like it.
Cooking in the kitchen, rocking on the phone at Kai's Music Garden.
So we're gonna make the miso caramel. It's one of my favorite things. I like to set it a little higher than most people. The most important thing with this recipe is to actually hydrate your sugar. I am by no means a baker or a pastry chef. So I just warmed up the pan a little bit. So you'll see that, my sugar's starting to hydrate, right? And we want that because it'll promote an even caramelization. So all we're going to be looking for, and I will do my best to resist touching this because I want to every single time. So we're going to go medium-high heat. We're going to watch it together, and it's slowly. It's going to come up to a simmer. It's going to hit the softball stage. Now, caramel is, one of those things, like, everybody likes it different, but generally across the board, people don't agree with me there, so it's more of an amber is really what we're looking for. And see, I can't just not touch it. It's a problem. I understand that. So basically, all we're looking for is like a color, right? So at work, at home, it doesn't matter which range you're using, you're going to find hot spots. One spot's going to caramelize before the other part. So I always keep that in mind when I'm doing this, because I will use that to swirl in to make sure I have a uniform color across the board. So once we hit that amber color and we do a quick little swirl, then we remove it from the heat, and then we add cream, butter, and miso. It's pretty straightforward, but it's, again, one of those things where you really want to do something that you're not supposed to all the entire time. So you can go ahead and roughly dissolve your miso in your cream, and then we're just going to, all right, so we're starting to turn right there on the right-hand side. I'm going to let it go a little further. So this is nice and thick now. You can smell the sugar caramelizing now, although we are going to move it like I said not to, just to try and disperse that heat a little bit. And I know, I'm doing what I'm saying you shouldn't, but we're getting there. So this is a throwback dessert. It used to be on the menu a long time ago. Don't really have plans on bringing it back. I just kind of like it, so that's why we went with it. So you'll see that we're starting to get to that amber color. We're getting those larger bubbles, that slow boil, which is what you want. That means you're starting to hit the softball stage. Or we've gone beyond softball at this point, honestly. We're closer to a little further. All right, so 30 seconds. Starting to get that nice amber color. This is where a lot of people would drop in their ingredients. Again, I kind of do things that I like. So now we're beyond amber. We're a little richer. The flavors are less subtle this way. All right, so this is starting to get deep amber. So I'm going to remove this from the heat, right? And I'm going to slowly take my miso and cream, and you can smell that miso. I love miso. And then now that I've done that, I'm just going to slowly add knobs of butter. And then let that emulsify, just like if I was making a beurre blanc. And that's it. That's just a super basic, quick and easy miso caramel that I really want to taste right now, but know that I would burn myself. So I'm not going to do that. We made a passion fruit meringue. It's an Italian meringue. It's set with a little bit of gelatin to give it a little more mouthfeel. And then we'll just give it a quick torch, and that'll be it for the evening. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Any questions, comments, concerns? We're good? Cool. Thank you.
Kai's Music Garden.